Okay, let's take a look at this latest project. It's a 1950 Crosley 10-139, also known as a dashboard radio because it resembles a 50s car dashboard. Here is the original label that's obviously seen better days. But the good news is Radio Days makes a nice reproduction of that, so I'll be able to replace it after we repaint the cabinet. This came to me from eBay. It was cheap enough because it's got some condition issues. The chrome is pitted, but I think I can minimize that and polish it out. I think it'll be okay. The tuning indicator comes right off right now. I think it's missing a little clip in here to hold it onto this shaft, so we'll get to that at some point. The knobs were stuck on there like you wouldn't believe. I've never had more fun trying to get knobs off. Last night I broke out the PB blaster and went in from the back and sprayed those shafts that the knobs are attached to, and I let it soak overnight. And then this morning I broke out my garage sale hairdryer and heated them up really good, and then used a little gentle persuasion, and now they come off of there without any trouble. So set those aside. It does have some corrosion issues and some other condition issues, the biggest of which is this crack in the top. It's a tight crack. Most of the black that you're seeing there is just where the paint is missing. It's a nice tight crack. I'll be able to open it up a little bit, get some super glue in there, close it up, and reinforce it from the inside with some JB weld or fiberglass repair or something, but it should be fine. I'm going to repaint the cabinet anyway because the finish has gotten really faded in spots and it's just lumpy and weird, so we're going to repaint it anyway. I found what I think is a good color match, and we'll get to that later in the video. Let me show you the back side. There's the back. Doesn't look great, but it's all there. It's probably seen a little too much moisture over the years, but it looks okay. This has a phono input, which will be nice. If you look inside, there's the antenna, and these wires are just crumbling. They're just falling apart. They're just, yeah. But so we'll have to replace all of those. But this radio's complete, which is good. And then you can see on the inside, it'll need a new line cord. And you can see that it's got some corrosion issues. There's rust on the tuning capacitor, there's rust on the speaker, the tube shields are rusty. I've seen worse. We'll clean it up, it'll be alright. In the next segment I will pull the chassis out and we will look underneath and see what that looks like. One of the things I'm a little worried about is that this has the small square IF cans, and it may have the silver migration disease. But we won't know that until we recap it and power it up and see what happens. But I think it's going to be fine. I have fixed that before, so if I have to, I'll do it again. But I think it's going to be fine. I think it's going to be a good project, good looking radio. Just wanted to give you a quick look at it. So get this project underway, and we'll move on to the next segment. Okay, let's see where we're at here. I got this out of the cabinet and have been looking at it a little bit. Things are going to need to be cleaned. I've cleaned a little bit, just a tiny bit, just to check some things out. The tuner seems to work okay. It's going to need to be thoroughly cleaned and lubricated, but this is moving. The on-off switch doesn't work. The volume works. I brought this up on the Variac just enough to verify that this is stuck in the on position. So that's a good thing for testing. But we're probably going to end up replacing this. It gets to the bottom here and nothing happens. You turn the volume all the way down and there's nothing. It just stops. There's no click. There's no snap. There's nothing. It just doesn't, there's no on-off there. Anyway, it is really dirty, obviously, and we're going to be working on that. I've already sprayed the heck out of the underside with the good old electronics cleaner there. It's a good start. I just get a better idea of what I'm looking at there, get rid of a lot of that crud, and I can start. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put the new electrolytics in, just hack them in there, just to see if we can get anything out of this. Just to see if we can get any kind of reception at all out of it. I don't know. it's going to need a lot of work. But before I do that, I have to clean the top of this. I have to clean all the tubes. They're really dusty. Clean all the tube pins, clean all the tube sockets, and then we can give it a try just to see if anything will happen. You know, and if that works, if we can get the electrolytics in there and make sure that it's working, then you just do one thing at a time, one capacitor at a time, and everything, and verify along the way that everything is still working. That way, if something goes wrong, you know it's the last thing that you installed. Again, I was talking about these IF cans in the introduction. That you can see they're a little rusty inside. I don't have high hopes for these, so we're probably going to have to deal with those at some point, but we'll get to that. The biggest problem I have right now is I don't think the speaker works. I can barely hear anything. When I powered it up a little bit, you couldn't hear much at all, just a tiny hum. And when I piggybacked a new speaker onto that, the hum went much louder. So I don't think this speaker works. I'm going to get it out of here and test it by itself with something else. I'm not sure what to do about that. I think what I want to do, if that's the case, I'm going to buy a new cone for it and try to make a new voice coil for it, because I want to use this speaker. I don't want to buy something aftermarket that doesn't fit this radio. It really needs to fit this chassis, be attached to this chassis the correct way, and this tuning bracket especially has got to be correct, or you're never going to be able to put the tuner on the front and have it work the way it's supposed to work. So I think I'm going to have to try and either get an exact replacement off the Antique Radio Forum or something if somebody happens to have one, or I'm going to have to rebuild this one, which is, you know, have the same problem with the little RCA record player that I'm working on right now. I've never rebuilt speakers before, so, you know, I've seen people do it on YouTube, so I might as well give it a try. But anyway, that's where we're at with this thing. Next, I said I'll put in the new electrolytics just preliminarily, just hack them in there just enough, and then we'll bring it up slowly on the Variac and see if it'll do anything. See if it'll pick up any stations or anything, you know, just as it sits. So stay tuned for that. Thanks.
I have a son, and he's the number one
well, it's good news.
Quarterback in the country.
We've got reception.
And I hire an agent.
Okay.
The agent's going to give him money. He's going to
This
give him
speaker is
whatever he
dead,
is
by
to
the way,
invest
so
in
I
his future.
piggybacked this one
And
onto
then
it.
that kid breaks his arm, breaks his leg, and his football
turn it
career
down.
never gets to the pro level.
Okay. What I've got going here, I put a new cord on it so we could test it. I've got that plugged into the Variac. I've got the antenna hooked up with all the alligator leads. And you can see those colored wires, blue, green, red, and black, are running to the electrolytics, which are also just hacked in here. This is supposed to have one 100, 130, and 110. Okay, one at 100, I should say, one at 30, and one at 10 microfarads. I put two 47s together to make a 94. This one's a 33 and this one's a 10. They're all 160 volt. These are 250s, so I have them in parallel. Take the 247s to make 194. So I got some things cleaned up, got the tubes cleaned up, got the tube connectors cleaned up, and just wanted to see if we, before we went any farther, just to make sure that we had something, and we do.
Basketball in New York. He also plays AAU basketball for Under Armour.
I don't know if this. Okay. You can't leave it there. They'll probably play music, and then YouTube will mute my video. So let's just. But anyway.
Okay. We'll talk about this next hour, but it's big business, huge.
It's actually not bad. Okay, not bad.
I knew, and most people who are even involved in AAU in terms of parents and their kids, it's so much bigger.
Sorry about going back to the handheld camera here, but I kind of had to do that to show you everything. But anyway, there's kind of a look at all of it. Anyway, making progress. Okay, I know it works, and that's always important. So now I can just start replacing those paper caps and testing resistors and just making it better. So we'll take it from here. Okay, I was looking around shopping for spray paint, trying to find a good color match for this dashboard, and I think I did. Let's take a look at it. You're still looking at the original color. I haven't done any repair work to it yet or anything. I've got to take all the chrome escutcheon off and everything. But this is the original color, except for right here. This is the new color right here. About that much. This side is the original. You can see it's faded in places, it's darker in places, it's kind of yellowed a little bit. Still have the crack. Like I said, I haven't done any repair work yet. But I think I really found a great color match. This new color is so close to the original. It's really it's astounding. And what it is this Krylon Color Master. The name is Catalina Mist. Comes in a satin, which is what I want. I don't want it too shiny. I don't want it too dull. Should be just about right. And it is just bang on. It's just an amazing color match. So that's good news. I noticed that you can look at this. You can see that on the escutcheon, the Crosley name and all of the numbers are painted the same color as the cabinet. It's that same aqua green, which is interesting. I'm not sure if I'm going to end up having to repaint this or not. I'm going to try to clean it up as best I can and try to probably, since it's such a good color match, I'm probably going to try to preserve the letters and numbers as best I can and just stick with this after, you know, if it'll shine up well enough. I mean, I'd love to have the chrome parts replated because they're pitted, but that's probably going to be too much money for this radio. It's not going to be worth that much when it's done, and that's not really why I'm doing this. I'm doing this to give it to some friends, and I think I'm just going to clean it up as best I can, and it'll be fine. It's going to look very nice when it's all done. But anyway, I just wanted to show you that because I can't, you know, I'm just excited about it. It's just, you know, obviously this was just a test. I'm going to sand all this down and try to get the finish nice and smooth because it's really got a lot of odd texture to it right now. But I just wanted to make the test, and I couldn't be happier. I mean, sometimes you get lucky and you find the right thing without too much trouble. So that's where we are on the cabinet. You see where we're at on the chassis. We're going to start cleaning that up too. So right now we're going to be working on cleaning things up a little bit. And then we'll get back to the electronic restoration. But before I go any farther with the electronic restoration, I want to go after this rust. I want to start cleaning this up. I mean, the tuning capacitor is going to come off of here and get thoroughly cleaned and treated for rust, and I may repaint this tuner bracket. I don't know. It's got a lot of rust on it. But that's got to be next. It's got to be cleaned up. The tube shields are just really, really rusty, and I need to clean those up really well and shine them up as best I can. And I'm going to have to buy some parts anyway, so while I'm either send the speaker out to have it reconed or try to find a replacement. I'd like to find an exact replacement if I can, but while I'm working on that and while I'm getting a new on-off switch for it, I'm going to be cleaning it. That's got to be next, and we'll try to shine it up a little bit too and make it look really nice. But it'll be, you know, it's all going to be inside the cabinet when we're done. But you can't leave that rust on there. So that's next. Just a lot of cleaning and cosmetic work, and then we'll get back to the electronics after all that. But anyway, that's where we're at with this thing. I think we're getting about to the right length here where I'm going to call this the end of part 1. And when we make a little progress on all of this rust and dust and stuff, and we'll start part 2. When I get into the cabinet restoration and start, you know, repairing this crack and stuff, I'll show you how I do that, and you know, how I get this thing prepped for paint and everything. And should be worth watching. So stay tuned. Okay, stay tuned for part 2. Thanks for watching.